And that should be fine. That's where we are. Well,
NBS Frontline.
hello and welcome to the Frontline. My name is 𝐬𝐮𝐞, still talking politics tonight. Before the dust settles over what was described as chaotic or catastrophic NRM primaries, the stage is already running with another episode of drama. And this time we're looking at the showdown, the ugly showdown as top leaders in the party jostle for SEC positions. There's a lot at stake, pitting especially the top two women, that is Right Honorable Anita Among and Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. What has turned out now to be a battle of salvos. It's more of a clash of egos, money, and untold interests. We'll be digging deep into what this means, and we are asking tonight, why would the country be concerned at all? Besides, why isn't the party so slow to react or to crack the whip on what turns out to be indiscipline, given that they're only coming out of, they're just coming out of the chaotic party primaries that saw a number of disgruntled losers raising a number of issues that bedeviled the party. Welcome aboard. My guests tonight are Honorable Emmanuel Dombo Lumala, Director Communications at the NRM Secretariat, together with Counsel George Musisi, the legal advisor of the National Unity Platform. I have Counsel Enoch Barata, Head Legal Department of the National Resistance Movement, and Honorable Salam Musumba, one of the top leaders at the People's Front for Freedom. Good to have all of you, and a very good evening. I'll begin with you, Honorable Salam Musumba. How are you watching the drama and the spectacle at the NRM?
Thank you very much. Let me say good evening to you, all viewers from all over the world. Allow me first to remember a great son of Kigezi, a great son of Uganda, Dr. 𝐬𝐮𝐛𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐿, who now rests in Rujeyo in Kanungu district. We celebrate you.
Sad.
Now, it's a strange topic that you invite me to talk about a party that I'm not a member of. And I want to deal with it from an academic point of view, to discuss it as a sister party, and with the greater interest of building a viable, competitive, likable, multi-party democracy that we as a country made a choice to have in our midst. And therefore, use the NRM as the party, the majority party, the party in government, as a model, as a measure of where a country, a democratic country should be, a competitive, a healthy multi-party system should be, and take lessons from it. As we speak now, for a party that is 20 years old, because multi-partyism is 20 years old,
True.
You leave the political fraud they talk about, they were in the bush or what. The organization called the NRM under the registration of multi-parties, of political parties, is only 20 years old. And so I want to measure it, I want to talk about it from the perspective of a party that enjoys majority and that runs the country. It looks very shabby now because it overrated itself. One, it set out to have a register, and that register was expected to be tamper-proof. They set out, they hyped what they called digital, sounding chic. They set out, they rolled out a program that would reach at every village. And so we were assured that this was it now. Over the series of failed and vicious internal competition. And so this time round, I paid attention to the detail. They gazetted registrars and gazetted as well as like what would be presiding officers. And to a very high extent, it fell flat on its nose. And the big questions to ask here. One, was the digital register used to a large extent? No. They were just floodgates of people, of thugs, of militia that descended upon the members of the party. The register didn't work. Two, the registrars, the majority of them, this was an opportunity for them to make money.
It's a windfall.
It's the kill. And so every candidate sought to reach out to these electoral officials to pay them up front, to be able to manufacture results for them. And to help them achieve that, everybody went either into the ghettos or to Chiseka Market or to the barracks.
For procurement.
To procure protection. I'll tell you, Magamaga was open for sale. I will tell you that Gaddafi, these are all military establishments. My address in Kamali, I was able to observe all this that I'm telling you. And so when everybody procured, every contestant who expected to have leverage over another, part of the logistics in these party primaries was the military. It is so easy.
I thought the role of the military was to secure, to provide security.
No, it wasn't. It was procured for purposes of getting an edge over the others and to make terror on opponents and to make terror on villages. The registrars openly solicited bribes. I'll tell you about Luuka, which I know. I am the last village in Kamali district. I am the gatekeeper of Luuka district. I know what was happening in Luuka, and the participants there are my acquaintances. So one had 80 million to be announced. Another one had 40, another 20. They announced the one of 20.
The lowest bidder?
And so money played a big part in the announcement. It was either the military assisting you to have you announced, or your money.
Fast forward, it's now gone to the top. The jostling for sec positions now seems to be unraveling quite a number of things.
Yeah.
What do you see is standing out?
You see, it's the same template. I was talking to myself and asking, why would I talk about NRM? I talk about NRM because of the contagious effect, the consequences of what they have done to the society and how they infect the body politics is what attracted me to this conversation. The worst part of it was to co-opt young people into this political fraud. In a normal society, it is despicable that a party at this time can use minors. It is like using child soldiers and infecting the next generation with theft. That is the biggest success story of the NRM primaries.
Thank you. Council Barata, you've had all the manner of accusations, and at least...
And actually the money accusation falls through up to the top to them. I hadn't seen this guy. You're Barata.
Yes.
I hear a lot about you.
Yeah, we've had allegations actually when it comes to money that some of the persons that you appointed to the tribunal have been implicated in soliciting for money to settle disputes, electoral disputes. How true is this?
Good evening again, viewers and comrades here on the panel tonight, and thank you again for hosting me, Simon, with these eminent people. The first thing is that I think what will be observed here tonight is that there is really a grappling to find and to catch something negative about the NRM and about the fantastic success that our primaries have been, and how the follow-on processes have been handled. So you will obviously see
success
that,
when your principal castigated the process.
There is an extensive search for something to latch on and say this failed, but that is not correct. Now, the NRM, of course, has been having elections, I think since 6th May. There have been some electoral activities going on. First of all, the structure elections, which went on and completed for the most part, except for the parts that are remaining. Then we went into the primary elections, which started with the MP elections, then the councillor elections at LC5 level and division mayors. Today, I think we had another election, and as you can see, everything is calm. I don't think you have seen any guns anywhere, or any shooting anywhere, or any tear gas anywhere. So, as I said, you will find that this whole process has been very successful, and we are mopping up well. The tribunal that is currently handling petitions arising out of that process, I think has also done a great job, and I will be very happy to get any solid accusation about that process, other than the usual hypotheticals and the propositions. But that process too is an indication, if anything at all, of the strength of the NRM, of the credentials of the NRM, both in terms of democracy and in terms of justice, and in terms of being able to cater to the needs of the common man. That we are here discussing the NRM is a sign of success.
Council,
Yes.
have you taken time to analyze the grounds upon which disgruntled members of the party are raising petitions and how much water they hold?
Of course, I certainly have analyzed those grounds, and when you look at the grounds that have been raised, the majority of them, they are not complaining about the election. Actually, they are not saying there was an interruption in the process, we did not vote, we failed to express ourselves. No, they are saying we voted properly, freely, fairly, we were comfortable, everything went well, but some officials interrupted this process at a different level. Now that is something we have acknowledged, that is something the national chairperson of the party has acknowledged. Action has been taken on the criminal justice side, and now we are addressing the electoral process itself, the electoral justice, and that is what the tribunal is doing. So this for us is again a portrayal of the values of the NRM and how serious it is about some of these issues. So the voting and the election was successful. There was nothing unsuccessful about it, I can promise you. If you look again, I think one thing that people have missed is that if you compare the complaints in the petition, in terms of the complaints, the last electoral cycle were about 1,300, more than 1,300 if I recall correctly. Right now we are dealing with about 600. That is a sharp decline, and that shows you the success of the process, the success of the register, which my brother Honorable Dombo can speak to better even. For me, everything you are talking about just only reflects success. It also reflects the improvement that has happened over time, and it also reflects how much more improvement needs to be done, which is a very good thing.
Well, you seem to be painting a glossy picture of the outcome and the entire process. What is evident is that there was the military that played a very pivotal role. There was a disputed register. There was use of kids. And there was the factor of money. Isn't it rather odd that you as head of legal haven't come out to condemn nor crack the whip?
You see, that is to not understand how things work. It is not, that is not my role. My role is defined and my role is being performed. But let's get back to the issue. The election, as I have said, was very successful, and you will be hard pressed to show me military, Simon. You will be hard pressed to show me. You will show me a few pictures of children here and there, which I have seen. Isinjiro, there was an incident on the first day of the campaigns when a car was burnt. Zimbabwe, there has been nothing except again on the first week of the campaign. I think there was an incident. There was a death. Yes, there was a death. There was also a death in Busoga somewhere, in Kamuli, correct. But we are counting those. Isolated acts of criminality cannot be extrapolated over an entire electoral process.
Just a second. The irregularities were isolated.
Yeah, those particular ones I have talked about. I don't know any others. If you know, you can enlighten me. And I haven't even seen them being complained about in the petitions that I have looked at the tribunal. But so for me, if you are saying what is the scale, if you are determining on a perfection level, we are not perfect. If you are determining on a progressive success level, we have been very successful. We appreciate that we have room to improve, and we are doing that.
Where we are now, we are witnessing a very fierce battle for SEC positions. Does it in any way border on abuse of the rules of procedure of the party, or indiscipline to an extent?
Fierce competition, there's nothing problematic about fierce competition. Competition is competition. In fact, that's what makes it competition.
What then would warrant a crisis meeting?
There is no crisis meeting. There has been no crisis meeting. So competition is fierce. The fact that something is hotly competed for does not mean it has broken any rules. If at all, it simply reflects the belief that the people have in the system, the belief that the people have in the party. So it is not, there is nothing untoward about the competition that is there. While you are focused on one position, I can tell you that all those positions actually, except that one you are focused on, I think have more than, probably more than 5 contestants on each. So that gives you an impression of the popularity of the NRM, and I do not think that all these people are supporting the NRM out of ignorance or out of stupidity. I think they see a lot of positive there. In
your argument, the flaws and all the anomalies are being overhyped.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Council Musisi, what is your reading of the storm brewing within the NRM, right from the party primaries to where we are now as the SEC battle gets underway?
Simon, contrary to what many people, especially in the NRM, like my elder here, Honorable Dombo, love saying that we're a mass party, NRM is more like a state party. It's fused with the state. And all efficiencies and inefficiencies of that we see in the administration of the state are seen in NRM. And I don't want to use the language of I think my senior brother Enoch is being too generous with his words in the description of what he used with NRM primaries. Actually having 600 petitions, or even I think NRM MP positions had about over 400 petitions. That is not, shouldn't be a sign of a good election. If you want to hear at least the public statements of people who have lost in the NRM primaries, those that have been interviewed in the media, you've heard them talking about different things than what Enoch is saying. You've heard them talking about security interference, you've heard them talking about bribery, you've heard them talking about intimidation, you've heard them talking about falsified declaration results, which even his own chairman acknowledged in his statements. All bad things that we've been talking about in elections that they do to other parties have been done. Like I said, that the usual incompetencies we see with the state are also seen in the NRM. I also don't want to imagine that it's a progressive. Is the NRM election today better than it were 5 years ago? I don't think so. I don't think it's better than it were 10 years ago. And they love calling themselves a mass party, but actually, if you set out to do something, you should set out to do it properly. Or if you don't, at least try to improve. They set out to hold a massive, almost a general election in what they call their party primaries. If you're holding an election, the first thing is the structure, the referee. Does the EC, that EC of Mr. Tango Doi, have the capacity to organize that election? The same Odoi who is always quarreling with many people who turned out to be contestants. In many places, we had arguments that registrars were campaigning agents for some of the candidates standing. So do you have the structure permeating through all the, over the 70,000 villages you keep on bragging about? No. You remember in 25 years ago, a day before the election, their party chairman said, no, you abandon the register. Go to vote, find a system of voting. This time round, some of the issues from some of the candidates, that there are some people who had different registers. Candidates would have different registers. Then the usual issues of, and I don't want to rub them down like what Mr. Bart is calling them incidents. Actually, it's not just an incident, something involving a death. And a death which is not by accident, which is by security agencies supporting one of the candidates. That's not an incident. The issue is that security agencies, the army, were supporting one candidate against the other. That's what resulted in the death. The death didn't come because they were quelling a crowd, because police was, no. So that is not an incident. It shows that the usual problems we have, and if you hear, some of them have spoken in the media, if you hear Hussein, who has always been chastising the opposition, if you, the problems they complain about are the problems opposition has been complaining about. So I don't want to dissect the NRM and the state. And that also leads us to your question of what drives the battle for the SEC, is because many of these people see NRM as a large gravy train, that the closer you are to the eating table, the easier. So that's what makes it, the SEC position, very lucrative. I overheard one of the people running for vice presidents in this region, in the central region, saying that he was giving delegates a transport refund of 100,000. Then the competitor came and started giving them 1 million. So that is how bad it has become. Because for them, they can't whip them. Those in the villages just whip them. But everything bad that can happen in an election, we saw it was on full display. That cannot be described as an election. Even the aftermath, the hearing of the petitions, the issues being complained about, if you're talking about violence, if you're talking about falsified results, if you're talking about intimidation, realistically speaking, how can a tribunal, and I know that they are trying, but how can a tribunal of 3 hear 40 petitions and or even 100 and hear and deliver rulings in 5 days? I'm told they were given 20 minutes to present your case. Even very senior judges hear some of these issues, because you know when it comes to electoral offenses, even one offense can nullify an election. So if people are making serious allegations, how can you tell me that we can hear this in 20 minutes and then in 2 days we give you? So it's just perfunctory. It's just meant to go through a ritual, and at the end of the day, the usual incompetence is certainly
when you're looking at the SEC battle, what do you think is most fundamental that the country ought to be concerned or to focus on majorly?
It's not. I don't think that it even has any effect ultimately on the country. I don't think that who is at stake has any effect on either administration or governance of the country. Ultimately, we know that even SEC itself, like we've seen in the past, sometimes it comes down to what their chairman ultimately wants. You remember the battle between Odrek and Honorable General Charlie Gonza, where they had to tell them, and of course, even this one that we are seeing, if the very hot battle of Eastern Uganda, national chairperson pitting the 2 ladies from the East, certainly, if it's left unattended to, we shall see some bit of fallout. So I don't think that SEC in itself, because at the end of the day, what decision has SEC made that has been so fundamental that NRM was going? It's more of an approval stamp of what the chairman wants. What decision has SEC made to the country? What happens is that they go there to approve the chairperson's recommendations. So it does. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is at SEC. And the people going there grappling for that seat are not grappling to make a fundamental change in this country. No, they know that the closer you are to the boss, maybe keeping around SEC may give you some sort of leverage. But it's not about anything.
Would it make it a do or die where it has reached today? I think it's becoming, every year it gets uglier. Do you imagine this time it's really getting more fierce with more interest now at stake? I'll give you an example. There is Cedric in the race, and in a way he's making it a bit complicated with the argument that being perhaps being a brother to the president, it in a way affects the odds.
It's still a reflection of many of these people we've been seeing running in the lower races for parliamentary seats. Even for constituencies, they know that they not reasonably win in the general election. They know that being an NRM candidate maybe will give you a leverage of being appointed an ARDC. So because the stakes are that way, that NRM has been fused with the state, the stakes certainly with sake even raise. They are not raising for the sake of pushing around the NRM agenda or advancing the party for its sake, but largely the NRM has become fused with me getting a bigger share or getting a closer to the share of whatever I can eat.
Thank you. Honorable Dombo, while discussing the stakes in the sake race, there's this general feeling that the leadership of the party is at a crossroads to crack the whip on the contenders who seem to be going against the rules because of their weight.
Simon, allow me, on behalf of the NRM, to express our commiserations to Honorable Salam Musumba for the loss of our brother, Dr. 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐞. For me, I knew Garuga, and he was one of the people I really admired at entrepreneurial level. And when you look at what he has done and what has been written about him, definitely you see that Uganda has lost somebody very important. In the same way, allow me express my commiserations to the family of the late Mary Karoro Okurutu, who has been a very active member of the National Resistance Movement, former member of parliament, former minister, lay canon of the church, and may their souls rest in eternal peace. Simon, I've listened to my colleagues here, Honorable Salam Musumba and Council MCC, and I've enjoyed the level of interest in the issues that are happening in the National Resistance Movement. If they were to sit an examination, they would have performed well, because they follow so well on everything that happens in the National Resistance Movement. That shows you the level of interest and the level of importance of the party, that people should abandon what they're doing to follow on a daily basis to find out what exactly is happening. They are trying to miscue in their observations and reporting some of the conclusions on the issues that happen on this side. But that one is going to be a debate for another date. But allow me to talk about the issue which you have asked. Is the national chairman failing to crack the whip? The national chairman is a candidate, first and foremost. This matter is being conducted by the NRM Electoral Commission. So, even when he has overall responsibility as national chairperson of the party, we are in an electoral process. And that is why the Secretary General and the Chairman of the Electoral Commission the other day, yesterday, called for a meeting of all people who are aspiring, so that they could be reminded.
That was Tuesday.
Tuesday, so that they could be reminded on their obligations and on what the rules say.
Yeah, but the no-show of the two protagonists was telling. Kadaga and Anita Among made no show.
When you look at the general elections, we copy from the structure of the general elections of the... Once you are a candidate, you can have a representative or a nominee, somebody who can represent you. And Right Honorable Kadaga and Right Honorable Anita Among were effectively represented. And you should have read in the papers or in the media that the Right Honorable Speaker is out of the country. At the time the meeting was called, she was traveling, or she had traveled abroad for scheduled meetings I don't know the details, but at least I've seen her at the Vatican. And the Right Honorable Kadaga also sent a representative. I don't know where she was and what her schedules were, but this is acceptable conduct. And I would not blame anybody because they didn't come.
Yeah, but it renders the meeting redundant because the biggest spotlight is on these two. They are the big culprits.
That is your view and your conclusion. I want to tell you that the meeting was very successful and the members who attended the meeting made very tremendous contribution because in addition to being reminded about their obligations as aspirants, but also people who are going to become leaders to the highest body of the Central Executive Committee, we also discussed the conduct of the elections and the guidelines that are going to be used for the purpose of conducting elections. So to us, the issue is not yet out of hand. The Chairman Electoral Commission and the Secretary General could have listened to statements and he heard that in some of the campaigns and some of the issues he has had were bordering on breaching the prohibited conduct and breaching the code of conduct of the National Resistance Movement. When you look at our constitution, is it Schedule 4? It's very clear how the leaders of NRM should behave, acceptable conduct and prohibited conduct. I want to tell you that there were some members who are aspiring.
Why is it so muted that it's not really biting anyone?
No, at the time of biting, it does not bite anyhow. Either there must be a complaint, or there must have been something observed, or there must have been a breach, observable breach, that really goes out of the process. That is why, before the elections, it became prudent that they must be reminded that if the NRM SEC is going to be responsible for superintending on affairs of the Constitution and the law, if any member breached the rules of procedure and was taken to the Central Executive Committee, would you want an issue taken before a member who himself or herself became a member in a manner that was offensive to the rules of procedure? Those are repeated things that we do. I believe you are a Christian, and you should have seen those last week. I was watching on TV and saw those priests who were being ordained, who are being ordained, and you saw the reminder and the process they had to go through in order to acknowledge that the role for which they have been invited is such an important role that they had to go through that process, even as in the National Resistance Movement. I want to tell you some of the questions you have asked my friends here. I want to acknowledge here that in NRM we can only have a process and an outcome that is reflective of the state affairs of which we have. We have a population, some of which has its own business. Right today, when you look at the outcome of the tribunal, they have cancelled some of the elections. You saw what happened. You have seen a member of parliament who is called the Honorable chasing a colleague, or one of the opponents with the club, 𝐬𝐿. That's not proper conduct at all. So, even
you're not sounding unequivocal on what is transpiring.
Even when
does it mean that you're becoming spectators, or you're just too afraid to do anything?
Don't you know that there are already people who are behind bars? Don't you remember the strong letters, the 4 letters following each other from the national chairman, which were published, and we discussed them here? Don't you see the follow-up process, the elections that have followed the initial process, how they have been more calmer because of the firm stance that has been taken by the party? Have you ever had in the previous elections the Chairman Electoral Commission inviting the aspirants like it has been this time? I've been in these elections before. I've witnessed.
So you're firm on indiscipline?
Absolutely. The party is progressively, and you wait. You wait when this process.
Honorable Salam, when
the tribunal has finished this process, I believe, because recently when we were in the NRM caucus, the president said we shall delve into these matters, but some of them will be sub judice because the tribunal is still conducting its work. I believe that when the tribunal has finished its work and they will have discussed the politics, there could be stronger measures taken. And
before I get to Honorable Salam, Right Honorable Kadaga raised some of the most critical issues. One of them was on the role of Tanga Odoi in running this election for SEC. He accused him of being partial and incompetent. Have you digested this complaint?
That is an opinion, first of all, but like I observed previously,
It's a complaint.
Right Honorable Kadaga has been a candidate herself in an election presided over by Dr. Tango Doi. And I think she was declared winner because of the processes. Even when some people had come up with some of the complaints against how the elections were conducted in Kamuli. You see, like Honorable Barata said, we are not perfect. But we have done a better job this time than previously, and we hope to do even better job in subsequent processes that are going to follow. So that complaint has come up. Right Honorable Kadaga knows where the complaint should be taken. She has complained in the media. But if he feels that that is a formal complaint, she knows the organ is where she belongs and where decisions can be taken. When she feels appropriate that those organs should consider that as a matter, she knows definitely that she can take up that matter, and those organs will respond to her in an appropriate manner.
Do you agree that the stakes are rising ahead of the SEC election?
Definitely. I don't know.
Rising for the bad.
I don't know where you were in the previous elections. I was in SEC when the Right Honorable Kadaga was contesting with the Honorable Namganza. Still, the stakes were high. When Honorable Babu was contesting against Hachigongo, the vice chairman, the stakes were high. Only that time has passed and people may not remember what exactly transpired then, but whenever the risk of losing or the opportunity of winning an election comes and there is a competition, definitely the stakes will even be high.
Okay. Did you learn from the past episode, the Namuganza Kadaga, because it also turned out to be corrosive to the party?
Absolutely, yes. That's why the Secretary General invited the aspirants. Last time the aspirants were not invited, but this time they have been invited and they have been reminded. And I want to tell you that ever since that meeting on Tuesday, you have not had any of those aspirants repeating the statements, some of the corrosive statements.
As we take a break, Honorable Salam, I'll give you just a couple of minutes. Do you imagine that the party is having a firm grip on handling misconduct?
I don't think it's interested, as you've heard from him. His definition of misconduct is not yours. As far as they are concerned, all is well. And so it can't fall on me to talk about misconduct from them, because their measure, their standard.
Yeah, they say you're overhyping, isolating.
No, that's their standard. And it's a choice they have made, that's their standard. If you want to measure it against other standards, then the question would have to be framed differently. So as far as the NRM is concerned, I don't know which culture they come from, the social fabric they come from, to believe that the majority of the things they are doing are all right. I have no clue which culture. Surely not Basoga, not Baganda, not Acholi, not Langi, not Madi. It is not. It is not. This conduct is only acceptable within a family, a political family called NRM. But it doesn't belong to the Bachiga. It does not belong to the Banyoro. It is an alien standard they've established and they want us to go that way. I will not go that way, because that standard doesn't exist in the social culture where I come.
Resistible?
You see,
is it resistible?
Strange. You know, it's a strange thing that they are importing into the body politic and normalizing and using happily, but it does not belong anywhere in the social fabric where I live.
He's saying that 20 million Ugandans are uncultured. I don't know if that's the message to get.
Anyway, your English is so subversive, it means that too.
We'll take a break.
NBS Frontline.
Are you ready to begin your journey to greatness? The future will not wait, and neither should you. Uganda Christian University is now receiving applications for the September 2025 intake. Whether you are fresh from A-level, upgrading your skills, or switching careers, UCU has a fulfilling program for you. From law, engineering, nursing, business, ICT, journalism, public health, theology, social sciences, medicine, dentistry, education, agricultural sciences to the creative arts. We are shaping leaders of integrity. Apply online at application.ucu.se.ug or visit our campuses in Mukono, Kampala, Mbale, Kavale, Arua, and Kagando to apply physically. For inquiries, call 0312-350-880. Ghana Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa.
Are you planning an event or wedding? Join us at 𝐬𝐿𝐵 Resort Hotel, Uganda. Relaxing accommodation rooms, well-equipped conference halls and boardrooms. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity to experience the best of hospitality and sufficient space. We're located in Seguku Katale, along Entebbe Kampala Road, channeling easy access to Kampala City and the airport. For reservations and inquiries, contact using the information on your screen or visit our website www.𝐬𝐿𝐵Resort.com.
Imagine waking up to a dream where luxury meets tranquility. Welcome to Solana Lifestyle and Residences, a sanctuary of elegance where every detail is curated for your comfort. From impeccable security to serene garden pathways, Solana offers more than a home. It's a lifestyle. Now, your dream is within reach. Experience life at its finest. Buy your home today, starting from just $142,000 US. Solana Lifestyle and Residences, now ready for occupancy. Live, work, play, and shop the Solana way.
This is nature. This is timeless. This is more than a destination, but a reinvention that will open your mind. The promise of spaces as extensive as your imagination. Filled with surprises, each moment transforms as often as you do, and a room to breathe. This is not a business as usual, but a new way to inspire, connect, and yes, build ideas. We are on a journey to make your gateway unforgettable. The perfect blend of leisure and adventures. Because it is not all about your destination to Kalangala Island, but where you stay matters. We are Brevard Sans Lodge.
Transform your future with Cavendish University, Uganda. At Cavendish University, Uganda, we are committed to providing you with the best education, state-of-the-art facilities, and experienced lecturers at all our faculties. Are you an IT specialist? Are you interested in artificial intelligence? Cavendish University is excited to introduce the Bachelor of Science in Data Science and Artificial Intelligence, where you will learn to harness the power of big data to drive innovation and decision-making. Are you a health specialist seeking to lead in the healthcare sector? We have the Advanced Diploma in Health Leadership and Management, equipping you with the skills to manage healthcare organizations effectively. Join us today and start your journey towards a brighter future. For more information, contact Your Transformative Education awaits. Success begins at Cavendish University.
Are you ready to experience the ultimate in live events?
Can you sit? Can you sit?
From local to global, we bring you the most exciting events 24/7. Stay informed with live breaking news.
Habemus Papam.
Keep in the know of what's happening around you and beyond. NBS Live. Live and filtered and missable. Exclusively on Afro Mobile. Kampala is facing a waste crisis, floods, pollution, disease. The signs are everywhere, but this is our chance to act. Join the conversation that could shape our city's future. The Uganda Environment Forum 2025, live on NBS TV, September 5th, under the theme, Tackling Kampala's Waste Management Challenge. Don't miss this powerful dialogue. Key voices, bold decisions, real change. Be part of it. Be the difference. In a digital world, not everything is what it seems. False stories today spread faster than truth, leaving us all wondering what's real. Disinformation misleads, misinformation misguides and spreads confusion and fear. Dismiss, a campaign to help you think critically, question wisely, and verify thoroughly. Join us. Let's build a more informed Uganda, one truth at a time. Dismiss, inquire, verify, confirm. Together, let's fight fake news.
She walks miles every morning, not for money, but for mothers who can't make it to the clinic. He taught men in his village how to improve their health when no one else would. They are not on billboards, but they are saving lives every day. Nominate your hero for the Heroes in Health Awards 2025. Let Uganda say thank you. Nominations open July 29th to September 30th. Send a video nomination via WhatsApp +256 762 199 227. Visit www.hihaawards.com. HIHA 2025, strengthening health systems, empowering communities through self-care and sustainable solutions. NBS Frontline.
Yes, it's the Frontline. Welcome back as we continue examining the stakes in the SEC battle as now it suffers ugly twists and turns. People are throwing salvos at each other. Money is being splashed all over the place. Well, there is a sense of nervousness within the party, but why would you be sleepless about what happens in the NRM?
Listen,
you seem to be.
When you are in the political.
You heard what Barata said, and the Honorable Drongo.
You see, if this one's thinking a pond, their mindset is in a pond called NRM. Mine is in an ocean called democracy, where NRM could muddy the water. So it's my business for the health of democracy. It is my business to track, to monitor, to learn, and to watch. It's like the wise men. They watch the stars. And so I watch every political action and reaction to be able to understand how they impact society and the consequences it is going to have on the body politics. Because we are fishing from the same source.
What would the NRM learn from the opposition?
They do learn.
If there is anything.
Listen, they learn.
What do you have to teach them?
We have to teach them what internal democracy entails and all the other models of primaries that are available. What they chose can be their Achilles heel. They chose a mass. That mass only helps you when you have when you are the favorite and you have a majority and you enjoy. When it begins to diminish, that majority becomes the poison with which you die. And so they are in that stage.
Which stage?
They are the stage of inevitable death. Self-destruction. Because these are patterns that are written about in books. And so it is also a thing they have to learn, that how do we turn the page? Because this mass thing, a primary election in that form has its own limits. And when you see those limits, it's like wearing size 9 of the shoe and the foot goes to size 10. If you refuse to change the shoe, you won't walk. So
you fall in the toes.
It depends what you want to do. And so we are dealing in a society that is dynamic, that is growing, that is acquiring new standards, new styles, and you must move with it. Really, is this what you want to do to society by exposing it to all those vagaries of bribery, open door, open castes? Do you want minors to be introduced? It's like an early pregnancy, what you're doing, or a child soldier. You are infecting society. Do you want the military? Because for a long time, it was discussed that what killed the Amin, the Obote, was the interference of the military into the politics. So that is certain death, because now you're going to divide even the military. You are going to infect the military. You see, the military is also seated there, happily waiting. Somebody told me, you know, Salam, I can get you SFC for 50 million. Hey! I said, what? That's their own sale.
Get you what?
SFC.
To do what?
You can even contract SFC today with the amount of money you have to do a Remiyaga for you.
Seriously?
Yes. I mean, why would I say this on camera as a lie? Because I am concerned that if we go like this, you would explode into a Somalia, into a Sudan, where you have SFC fighting against the regular army. This is not good. And I'm saying this so that we can pull back. And I was thinking to myself, what are these bloody professors, doctors in NRM doing? Not to study and have a post-election evaluation, real time, of what this is doing to a society. It looks like NRM is looking at NRM just, not the country. But I thought that NRM should be more concerned about the bigger national security, national stability, national democracy of the country we all call home, Uganda.
Thank you. Council Barata, does Salam Musumba, Honorable Salam Musumba, give you fodder for soul searching?
I am quite frankly not too sure what to make of that submission, because on the one hand, you are saying abandon the masses and retreat into some, I don't know what. Because you are saying
there are available other models.
Exactly, and you are saying
which English did you learn?
There are available other models, and your argument is that those available other models are better or should be preferred to the mass model that the NRM is using. But perhaps I got it wrong. Nonetheless, the point we are making is this. We are all aiming to keep and to improve our democracy. And this democracy is not just about competing for positions. This democracy is essentially self-determination. Self-determination means that people must also determine what systems they want to be governed by. Those systems include political, economic, social, etc., etc. That is part of self-determination. The model that NRM has taken to approach democracy is that it will not impose upon the people that which they have not agreed to. So we must allow the people to choose those models of governance, those at all levels and all sectors that they want, and improve them as and when they move.
Yeah, but the experiment seems to be problematic.
No. This is not an experiment, by the way. This is reality. There is nothing experimental about it. It is reality. It has been measured against what has happened in the past, and you can see that the results are excellent. Honorable Salam mentioned quite rightly that this is just a 20-year-old party. 20-year-old party. I don't know how many parties started with it that have managed to make that 20 years old intact. I don't know how many. So 20-year-old is not very old. 20-year-old is barely an adult. So for me, the way I see things in a practical way. I do not dream of what should have been, as the president once said. I want to see what is and then move from there and say this is the situation. I also don't believe in you know, sometimes you can look at a problem and you are more scared. You are too scared to act on the problem, and all you can keep saying is I see a problem, I see a problem. And sometimes you discover that that problem actually is not there, or as a matter of fact is much smaller than you assume it to be. As we have said, the NRM has made significant strides, significant progress. There is a lot of room to improve. There are strategies, there are ways, there are mechanisms for the NRM to improve, and those are ongoing. So everything else that we are talking about, perhaps maybe the other challenge is that some of us are talking from the inside, others are talking from the outside, so we do not have the same.
But what is apparent,
the same perspective.
Council, what is apparent is that the same evils that characterize every primary, every party election keep returning. So
No.
do we say that is NRM's identity and we settle for it?
Let me explain it this way, Simon.
Yes,
Simon,
let me tell you that these people, they look for every money-making event so that when there are problems, then they can bring in a set of lawyers to earn from that. When there's They cannot clean up a system because the system is the source of income. They create the problem and find the solution. So he will not tell you that there's a problem.
Of course, that is a more simplistic approach to looking at things. But let me, Simon, you see, when you read the electoral laws, they state very specific cases. They state very specific things. Why are those things stated in that specific manner? Because those things will most likely occur in an election period. And that is not just in Uganda, that is across the world. Those particular things will most likely occur. The question is the occurrence increasing or decreasing? I am submitting to you that the occurrence of those things continuously decreases as the enforcement and
you're
as
using the yardstick of people not going to the tribunal.
And as the systems, that is one yardstick.
I find that simplistic because
no, and that is just one yardstick.
Some people have treated that tribunal as a mere charade. They are saying it is cosmetic. It's not offering anything.
Okay, since you want the statistics, I will challenge you to this. You tell me how many people came to the tribunal in the last cycle, lost the cases in the tribunal in the last cycle, stood as independents and went through. You give me that statistic.
If you hear historicals like Honorable Tinkasimile,
then we can talk about.
If you hear historicals like Tinkasimile rubbishing the tribunal, I think that's telling enough, isn't it?
No. You are in a political contestation. The politicians have their ways. Even courts, we have seen people here rubbish courts, and just because they lost the case, and you say, oh, these courts, this and that and the other, but they are there, and they are doing justice to the vast majority of Ugandans. They are delivering justice. They have continuously improved. But you will still see one person who has access to a camera and they will make a lot of noise. But that is not the yardstick.
Our friends here,
yes,
you know, they withdraw the election petition saying there cannot be justice. But just yesterday they were running to the Constitutional Court with another petition.
Oh,
so depending on what they do,
what happens this side, you can pass an exam too.
So they choose to go to the courts of law when it is convenient, and they choose to run away when it makes political capture.
Counsel Mshishi, like Honorable Salam argues that the body politic is already saturated and dirty. How clean can you play in the midst of all the mess?
Of course, it becomes increasingly harder because we play in the same context, we play in the same space. And I would like to widen it further with something you asked my senior brother Enoch here, that some of these issues that we've seen in their primaries are recurrent issues. Secondly, when Enoch says that, you know, there's a reason why these things happen everywhere, this is why they point them out. The issue is that when they point them out, even in the law, there are consequences. Like I said, for instance, in electoral laws, even one act of bribery can nullify an election. So what remedies have been offered by NRM by the recurrent issues?
One proven
yes.
act. Proven
yes.
act. So
yes.
you don't just allege and then you think you have
but
done
of course,
something.
like we've said, if we've had all these allegations, Enoch, you cannot tell me that 3 people, 3 lawyers, however good they may be, can hear 40 petitions with all sorts of allegations in 20 minutes and come up with a decision in 3 days. It's even a judge of the High Court cannot do that.
You certainly haven't been on a criminal session in our justice system.
No,
even on a constitutional.
There is no criminal session which hears a case in 20 minutes, Enoch, unless a person is pleading guilty.
I think you have to admit that you haven't practiced in the Supreme Court. Because I don't think you get more than 20. I don't think you get more than 20 minutes.
Of course, High Court is in a trial court, Enoch. You are misleading the public. High Court is an appellate court. Your tribunal is a trial court. Because you are hearing raw evidence for the first time. That's the difference. You are hearing raw evidence. You're supposed to interrogate the evidence initially. And what consequences are there for those allegations? Unless Enoch is saying that of all these petitions that we've dismissed, actually all these were just mere allegations. So it's not enough.
But I think you should get the benefit of perhaps one of those decisions and internalize it.
I've read some actually. But let me finish my submission.
You will find it interesting.
Yeah, it is indeed interesting.
It's quite magical.
Interesting is indeed the word. But the point I was making that what happened, it's not enough for Enoch to say that, you know, in any case they go ahead to lose the elections. They may go ahead to lose the election because of the very reasons why they lost the primaries. If you brought soldiers to beat me up in the primaries, what makes you think that will not bring them up in the general elections? So the argument that I lost the general election is not in itself evidence that the primary was clean. So to connect it to your question, Simon, the bigger context, of course, is polarized with the same muddy waters. And there has been no deliberate effort. When I started from, I said that there's a strong fusion between the NRM and the state. What we see here in their primaries is what they transplant in the bigger general election. You find ourselves, us on the opposition, fighting the same thing.
For instance, why would the opposition be upset or hysterical about a fight between Kadaga and Anita Among?
Why do you find
why would they be hysterical?
Why do you find that?
Is there an opposition which is hysterical?
Yeah, there is a sense that it's sweeping the nation, it's sweeping across the nation, and it's becoming some bit of
Actually, we are being entertained.
Actually, I think the opposition stands...
But I am glad you agree.
The opposition stands to gain.
You say the TikToks, eh? You get entertained.
I am glad, Honorable Salam, that
yes?
you agree.
That
this is just a creation of... There is nothing sweeping anywhere.
No.
Well,
the way he frames the question is that it's sweeping opposition. It is not. You're just entertaining the world with your mannerlessness, with an abuse of titles, right honorable. I mean, it's a entire madness that you are engaged in. That you are adults of sound mind who should be leading us. The vulgarness of it is just obscene. So that doesn't mean we're just entertaining and hiring people to abuse each other. I mean, it's so revealing of the underbelly.
Well, so I don't think it has
the battle lines in NRM are infectious to the opposition, right?
You would be too generous with your words, Simon, if you use the word sweeping the opposition. If anything, yes, I would like to adopt what Honorable Salam is saying, that it's entertaining had it not been coming from leaders of the nation. It would be comical had it not been coming from people who should be, they should be role models because of the offices they hold, if not for anything else. So, however, it may have ramifications to the opposition to the extent that in some instances the opposition may benefit from the fallout, because if we see it going out all the way and then these insults and then these abuses, one of the losing party may certainly openly say the things we've been saying all along. And of course,
if you never cashed in on the crisis in 2021, when Kadaga was fighting with Namugans.
But this is not 2021, sir.
This is 2026.
I don't think that the two are even on the same wavelength, because we are seeing a former speaker fighting a sitting speaker, or a contest between the two. I don't think it's at the same wavelength as Kadaga Namuganza was. I don't think it's at the same wavelength as maybe the one Honorable Dombalu did, two of Honorable Francis Babu and Haji Gongo. So, and of course, being sometimes it's pitting ladies who are ready to go at each other, even in terms of evolved words. So we are seeing, I say that if not for anything, at least by the offices they hold, this is a high stakes battle. Does it have sweeping the opposition? I don't think so. However, it's entertaining but sad in the same measure.
Thank you.
You see, they call it a melodrama.
Or a tragicomedy.
Yeah.
Well, very interesting. Honorable Dombo, when you listen to the salvos being thrown across board between Anita Among and Rebecca Kadaga, do you pick the message?
First of all, I have only picked some of the things into written media. And the media which was not authored by either Kadaga, Right Honorable Kadaga, or Right Honorable Anita Among. It was reported. I don't know whether it is substantive and correctly reported, but recently I listened to Right Honorable Kadaga, Right Honorable Anita Among, when she held a meeting in Nikamuli, in Buyende, when she hosted a number of people. And she was alluding to statements that had been made without repeating them. He said Right Honorable Kadaga had mentioned some statements, but she would not want to repeat the same statements, or to use the other English word is to borrow her mouth, or to borrow those words from the other side. So that's the only information which I got from the media. But ever since we had a meeting...
So you're not as keen. You can let it pass.
First of all,
No,
some of the things...
That a person in charge of media
some of the things
does
that
not follow media.
Some of the things which were said, you see, I am in charge of media, but those people speaking are not authoring those things in the media. The media is reporting. So when the media reports, it either reports the way they had it or the way they interpret it, not necessarily what those two people may mean.
What then warranted the crisis meeting that was held on Tuesday?
No, it's not a crisis meeting.
It was never scheduled on the calendar of events.
No, progressively in the process of conducting elections, meetings are conducted as and when need arises. And need arose that the people who are aspiring for higher positions needed to be reminded on their responsibilities, and also to reminded on what the provisions of the NRM Constitution says. That is a proper conduct, and these members of the opposition should be picking something from the way we conduct our things in the NRM. But Charles,
what exactly?
But Simon, let me tell you, we are all playing within the same spectrum or space, political space in this country. The last time I appeared on the talk show with my sister, Honorable Salam Musumba, she was a member of a different party. We are now appearing today, she's from a different party altogether.
Is she the same person?
So, I believe so. I want to believe so.
Are you saying a different person?
I want to believe that you are the same person.
Thank you.
So, because she was in a different party, you can see that each of the organizations that we belong to have their internal challenges. I want to congratulate them because now we have the new organization.
No, you are just confused.
They are in the new,
what you understand.
They are in a new organization.
Stop your confusion.
They are in a new organization, and I am yet to find out how they will transact business in the new organization. But look at NUP. They have an investigation which was recently launched by the president. A high-level investigation.
What is it about?
It is about the bribery, sex abuse, and also underhand methods on determining, because
clearly you spend more time on
one of the senior leaders, Honorable former member of parliament,
the director of
from
communication
Kawempe, he raised the complaint, and it became Latif Sebagala, and it became important for the president of the National Unity Platform to convene a high-level meeting and set up a committee to investigate. So,
was there a sex abuse?
Each of us.
Sex abuse?
So you want to say bad manners cut across?
We are all
and you're
fishing,
proud of your bad manners.
We are fishing.
Regardless.
We are fishing the same water. We don't know who is going to bring the muddy water, the mud in the water, because they have their mud. FDC has its own mud.
Council, you want to come in?
I want to just just answer your question, maybe to make this very simple. The only reason we are having this discussion and the only reason you are talking about crises and things that don't exist is simply because there is only one political party that has an internal democratic process, and that is only the NRM. So the only thing you have to talk about here is the NRM. You cannot compare any. There is no comparable
NRM
process.
and internal democracy in the same state.
There is no comparable process, and I want to challenge you now to tell me any comparable process. So this is what you are calling a crisis, a sweeping here, sweeping there. That is simply because the only people who are committed to a democratic process, both internally and externally, are the NRM. If you show me,
or could it be that we expected NRM to be better?
That is
and they are acting otherwise?
That is an expectation that we hold ourselves to. We expect better of ourselves every day, 24 hours.
Unfortunately,
it is an expectation.
You have normalized shabbiness.
No, we haven't. We haven't. As you can see, 20 years leading, and we are still progressing and having a countrywide a primary that is lasting over 60 days now. That can't be shabby. You will agree.
Let's take a very short break, and when we return, we'll still be looking at how politics continues to unfold with NRM setting the tone. Is it bad manners or anything to emulate from their processes? Good evening.
NBS Frontline.
Looking to build a career that saves lives? Welcome to Finns Medical University, the only specialized health sciences university in East Africa. Fully licensed, NCHE accredited, and approved for a charter. Now accepting applications for degree programs in Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, Pharmacy, Lab Technology, Weekend Nursing and Midwifery, Medical Education Tutorship, Diplomas in Nursing, Midwifery, Clinical Medicine, Pharmacy and Lab Technology, and certificates in Nursing, Midwifery, Pharmacy, and a bridge course. With a state-of-the-art lab, a conducive learning environment, and real clinical practice, your journey to excellence starts here. Finns Medical University, saving lives, our passion.
At 𝐬𝐿𝐫, we believe in safety.
Stanbic Bank, the Talent Africa back to Sako. The Legends of Sound Africa at 50th concert. Ngawoga Skuna Mukaga ku Millennium Grounds. Rugogo. Nga bandi yonanta megwa Africa band. Ejaguze myaka 5 bakuletedde. The one and only Kofi Olomide. Hatuse. Ticket so jifune mangu mu Alebad wano ku Stanbic Flex Pay. Bronze ya mitwalo 5, silver mitwalo 10, ate meze ya gold ya milioni 3, diamond table ya milioni 5, olo platinum ya milioni 10, enkola ya VIP. Kino kiraita Legends of Sound Africa at 50 concert exclusive wako Stanbic Bank ne Talent Africa, Sheraton Hotel, NBS TV, Sifao, Safe Border,
Pepsi ne Tusker Malt Lager, 100% malt.